What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 24 driver career, and we're here for round number 6 of our Formula 2 season, and it is time for the Monaco Grand Prix. It is one of the most prestigious events on the Formula 1 and Formula 2 calendar, and we come into this one in a run of very good form. We bounced back quite strongly in Imola with 2 victories in both races. We nailed the strategy there, and we absolutely clowned the opposition, and as a result we now lead the Drivers' Championship by a rather significant margin. And yeah, it was a great recovery after a difficult weekend where we failed to score any points in Azerbaijan. This weekend could go either way, and as you can see here in practice, I was the slowest car on track, yes, by only 0.02 of a second, but it still makes a huge difference. So we're going to have to find some serious performance if we want any chance of scoring points here. Obviously, Monaco, incredibly difficult track to overtake at. It is not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination to even get remotely close to a position where we can score points. And if we don't qualify in that top 10, then our weekend is basically as good as over right then and there, unless we can maybe in the feature race make up a position or two on the start and maybe nab a few points. But really, if we want to score big points this weekend, we have to be in that top 10 pack somewhere to try and get ourselves into the best possible position. Now, for those of you who don't know, qualifying in Monaco is done in 2 groups. So right now there's only 11 of us that are taking part in qualifying. This is Group B, so the other 11 have already qualified. I don't know what times they've done, but we can find out once the session is done. But right now we're currently sitting in P9 in our group, which means that we could be, you know, anywhere as low as P20 potentially, depending on what the other group did. And you can see we are improving, but only by a little bit, only by about 3 or 4 tenths so far. So as we round the final couple of corners, this will be a pretty good improvement, but I don't know where this is going to put us. We're definitely lapping faster than Richard Verschoor, currently in P7 in our group. And as we come on the run to the line, it's a 1:18.7, and that is good enough to put us P1 for our group. But we need to check. We need to make sure that we are the fastest car overall, and not just the fastest car in our group.
It's time to leave for now, but we'll be back tomorrow when the feature race gets itself underway.
So we were 0.04 of a second faster than Martins in our group, and for whatever bizarre reason, Group A did not set any times. I get the feeling this is a game glitch or something like that, because realistically, someone in that group, all of them, should have been doing some kind of time. So that does mean that we'll be P1 for the race, which is good for the feature race. But I can't help but feel like maybe this was a little bit undeserved potentially. We'll never know what the drivers could have done, but we'll see what we can do now as we get into the sprint.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1 mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. Welcome to the Formula 2 commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alex Brundle joins us as ever for this. Alex, it's a sprint race. How's the format change going to affect the mentality of the drivers?
You go for a little more, a little earlier, using a bit more of that harder compound of the 2 tyres available per weekend in Formula 2 to try to steal a march. And equally, if you have a bit of a bump, not so much of an issue. You're going to have another go tomorrow.
Right, this track needs a lot of downforce, so it won't have as much top speed. The good news, though, is that it's going to make our DRS even more effective than normal. Try to make the most of it in the race and quali if you can.
Well, it is going to be a P10 start for us here in the sprint. For those of you who somehow aren't familiar with the way that qualifying in Formula 2 works yet, where you qualify in qualifying, if you qualify in the top 10, it will be reversed for the sprint race. So if you qualify P1, you'll start P10. If you qualify P2, you'll start P9, and so on and so forth, all the way down to the person who qualifies in 10th, who will be starting in P1, which I believe in this race is Kushmaini. So we will see whether he can hold on to the lead. Like I said, it's a very difficult track to to overtake at, but only the top 8 score points in the sprint. So we're going to have to make up 2 positions at Monaco to score any points in this race. It's going to be very difficult, and you know, I won't feel too hard done by if we don't manage to do it, but we will see if we can get ourselves into the points as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we've had a pretty good getaway here, at least compared to Johan de Ruvela. He's been slow off the line, but unfortunately, there was just nowhere for me to go there. He was wheel to wheel with Victor Martins. If you make it 3 wide at Monaco, you might as well just kiss goodbye to your race right then and there. So, yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't really able to make the most of that good start I had and maybe make up a position or 2. But yeah, we can still try and find some room to go for an overtake. Here we're going to get a run on Martins, and I'm actually going to dive up the inside of him. We're going to be wheel to wheel going through the next corner to make a bit of contact there on the tyres. But, you know, it was just tyre to tyre contact, no big deal. We're going to be wheel to wheel now going through the hairpin, and eventually I have the better exit as a result of being on the outside. And now we're going to see if we can close down Johan de Ruvela in P8 to hopefully bag at least a point or 2 in this sprint race. Would be absolutely ideal, but it's not going to be easy now to overtake him. The best of the opportunities to overtake have gone, and have braked very deep into the chicane there, and we're going to have to slow up quite dramatically to avoid getting a penalty. And as a result, Victor Martins has now got back past us, and so my one overtake I might have potentially made in this race has been undone, and we're just going to have to go to the end like that now. Yeah, really disappointing. And unfortunately, I think that it's going to be a pretty slow race from this point onwards. You know, we'll see if we can get ourselves into a position to overtake Victor Martins. But I mean, look, this track doesn't have a reputation for being impossible to overtake at for no reason, and especially in Formula 2, where DRS trains are rife, it is going to be exceptionally difficult to get past him. We make our way onto lap number 5 now, and we've been set an objective to get past him before lap number 8. I can tell you right now that is going to be incredibly difficult. Even with the DRS, you know, they were saying about how the DRS is more effective. Whilst, yes, true, everyone has it. Literally everyone, apart from whoever is leading the race at the moment, which doesn't appear to be Kushmini anymore from what I can tell. I think he's fallen to P2. So, yeah, whoever that Dams driver is going to be eating good today. I don't know if it's a Yumu Awasa or... I don't even know who his teammate is, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, it's likely Awasa if I had to guess. He is definitely been the stronger of the Dams drivers this season. He's currently in P2 in the championship. So, yeah, it was unfortunate there, but we had no real opportunity to overtake Victor Martins. Just wasn't going to happen for us today. So, yeah, I think we're just locked into this P10 position. And as we make our way onto lap 11, you can see that the gap to Martins now has started to increase. Unfortunately, I just was starting to struggle on the tyres a little bit. When I had the objective to overtake Martins, I was pushing very hard to try and sort of stay with him and maybe try and get past him. You know, there were times when I was only a few tenths behind him, but still there was no position where I was ever close enough to even think about going for a move on him. And now they're saying I've not used enough fuel in this race. I'm not really sure what I can do to use up more fuel. You know, I was just trying to put the power down as early as possible on the exit of every single corner, and hope for the best. You know, you spend quite a lot of the lap in you know, fairly low gear, so there wasn't really much I could do gears wise. And to be fair, we were actually quite close to achieving the objective. We're only 0.08 kilograms off, but you know, we can say all the if, buts, and maybes that we like. We didn't meet the objective, and that was basically the story of this race. You know, just a couple of failed objectives, a couple of failed attempts at overtaking, and yeah, just overall a bit of a nothing race really. But we will be starting P1 in the sprint race. It's Arthur Leclerc winning at his home race. Okay, that's who the other Dams driver is, of course. I can't believe I forgot that. Wow, absolutely amazing. And we are going to cross the line to take P10 here today. No points available in the sprint, but you know, still the opportunity to score a big 25 points in the race. So I'm very happy with that. But wow, Arthur Leclerc, deserving driver of the day. His home race, no less. That is absolutely sensational.
Here they are then, coming into Parc Fermé. What an excellent win for the Dams team.
Well, sprint races are basic, aren't they? And that's why we like them. Set them all going and let them have at it. And they really showed the racecraft and pace that you need to win them.
And I can see our drivers making their way out now. It's been a sublime team performance, and it's the culmination of a lot of hard work. Dams are your winners today.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of amusing, really, isn't it? Because obviously Charles Leclerc, Arthur Leclerc's older brother, won the Monaco Grand Prix in real life just a week prior to me recording this. So it's kind of poetic in a way to see Arthur Leclerc bagging the victory in Formula 2. He's flanked by Miney and Verschoor on the podium, and, well, a good race all round.
After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, the job's not done, so to say. There's still a lot to do in the feature race, and that's going to be where the big results are obtained. Ayumu Iwasa finishing all the way down in P19, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about him making a surprise appearance in the feature race, so to speak, and that is going to be potentially very good news for me. I know that Daruvula and Martins are having pretty decent seasons as well, and they're starting right up there with me. I'm trying to think who else. I think Behrman is having a decent season. Pourchaire, I think, is doing all right. So, yeah, all of these guys could potentially be a factor in the feature race, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them potentially, you know, put a bit of pressure on me, and maybe we come under threat, especially not having any DRS if we are going to be leading the race out of the first corner. But yeah, still, I'm optimistic about my chances of winning here today, and if we can do that, I think we'll have a pretty sizable lead in the championship after. This would be round number 6, 12 races. This is round number 6, and we're almost halfway through the calendar already, which is kind of incredible, really, because it feels like we've only really just begun. But I guess, you know, that's the nature of doing 2 races per video. But you know, that's how they do in real Formula 2. So I thought that would be the most accurate thing. Obviously, it's going to be like that in Formula 1 in a few races as well. I think 6 of the races on the calendar are, of course, sprint races now. So yeah, we will have to do 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races in that one. So that might be you know, conducive to even longer videos than these F2 ones. Obviously, the length of the races is a bit longer, but actually, to be fair, the length of these 2 races combined is about the same as one normal Formula 1 Grand Prix, so maybe not. But yeah, my point, I think, still stands, that there will be potentially some longer videos down the pipeline. You know, even when I was doing the sprint videos in the past, they weren't quite as long, just for the simple fact that you know, they didn't have that extra qualifying session and all that kind of thing. So it will be really interesting to see how that occurs. But to get back to my earlier point, yeah, it feels like this really has flown by. I'm really enjoying this year's game so far, and I can't wait to see what kind of results we can get when and if we get into Formula 1, which is looking ever more likely with the results that we've been pulling recently. Yes, this race was of course pointless, but we have a real opportunity now to score some good points as we get into the feature race.
Monaco. Formula 2 has been welcomed back to this most famous of race locations, and the excitement in the air is building as we count down to the start of today's race. The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1 mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, with Victor Martins alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Daruvula, Doohan, Roman Stanek, Hadjar, Behrman, Verschoor, Leclerc, Kushmaini, Fittipaldi, Hauger, Zane Maloney, Teo Pourchaire, Vesti, Crawford, Iwasa, Amory Cordial, Benavides, Novalak, Correa, and Ralph Boschon completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's get down to the track. It is the Formula 2 race. It is time to introduce you to Alex Brundle. I'm Alex Jakes, and we've got changeable weather out there today. That's making for some nervous team personnel down in the paddock, down in the pit lane.
Well, uncertainty is what strategy's all about, but it absolves the teams from the responsibility of running both compounds of tyre. They might have to use that wet tyre, of course, and then the question is, where do those crossovers lie between the wet and dry conditions?
With this being a high downforce circuit, we're not going to have quite the same top speed we have at other tracks. The good news is, though, it's going to make our DRS even more effective than normal. So try to make the most of it during the race and quali if you can.
So I guess they just have one intro cutscene dialogue for the Formula 2 races when it's dry, at least, because they talk a lot about changeable weather conditions. It's absolute bollocks in basically every race apart from that Imola race that we did last time out, which obviously was a dry wet race. But yeah, here in Monaco, the sun is out and there's absolutely no indication that there is going to be basically any rain or anything like that whatsoever. I think it's going to be dry for the entirety of the 21 laps that we're going to be racing. We've parked up on the grid very quickly. I think Crawford is still coming round the final corner, or maybe it's Boschung. I'm not sure who's in last place, but yeah, whoever it is, we're still lining up on the grid. Still coming around the final corner as I was lining up on the grid. But we'll see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and we've had another good getaway here compared to Victor Martins, and this should be the race lead secured through the first corner. And phew, okay, we've won the Monaco Grand Prix. I will see you guys in 21 laps. No, I'm just kidding, obviously, but that is probably quite likely now that the victory has been secured off the back of that. You know, we've got a good strategy as well. We're going to do the undercut strategy again, although obviously it won't be so much of an undercut as a race lead extension strategy if we can hold the lead for the next 9 laps. Lap 1 is really the big one where Victor Martins is really going to have to try and, you know, push hard, get his elbows out if he wants any chance of getting past me. Don't forget, of course, that because we don't race in France on this year's calendar, this is the closest thing that Victor Martins has to a home race. We'll see whether any home fans of Martins have come to the race to watch him drive. Obviously, you know, a number of French drivers in Formula 1 as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if you know, some of them potentially have some fans that have come to see them as well. But you know, we don't want to come under pressure from somebody who may have a bit of a crowd advantage here, so to say. Just as you know, I wouldn't expect him to suddenly buckle under the pressure of being raced against by me in Silverstone, for example, or something like that. So yeah, we just need to kind of put all those thoughts out of our head, just focus on our driving, and hopefully we can have a good enough race to get ourselves into a strong position to, you know, hopefully lead the championship by a very significant amount after this race. We will see exactly what it is at the end of the race, because I forgot to show it at the end of last video, so it is really up in the air. I know we're leading it, but I have no idea by how much. And yeah, we've been set a bit of a bizarre objective here to keep our fuel load above a certain amount. I didn't think that I was burning that much fuel, but instinctively I started lifting and coasting initially. Eventually I checked how much fuel I actually had and how far over the sort of amount I was, and I was like a lap over what I needed. So I wasn't that concerned in the end. Lap number 9, we come into the pit lane. We're going to be going onto those soft compound tyres to the end of the race, and when we come out of the pit lane, we will cross over that finish line and comfortably pass this this objective that we've got here to keep this total fuel load pretty high. Yeah, like I said, it was just a bit of a bizarre one in retrospect, and I really should have checked how much fuel we had before I immediately started lifting and coasting, because we could have potentially pulled a bit of a gap on Martins and Deruvala, but hopefully we'll be able to do that anyway now that we've gone onto these soft compound tyres earlier than everybody else. A few cars coming into the pit lane now. I think Duan and Stanek are the closest ones to where we were before the pit stop phase. So yeah, they will be. I mean, let's see what the gap is to Stanek behind. 4.5 seconds. So I'm pretty confident that we've got this one in the bag now. Everybody else now coming into the pit lane at the end of lap number 11, including the sprint race winner Arthur Leclerc, and we are going to come out ahead of Martins and Deruvala. We'll see what the gap is to Victor Martins after the pit stop phase. And we'll see whether Stanek can get ahead of Deruvala as well, because don't forget he's pulled off a bit of an undercut here. It looks like he hasn't quite managed to do it. And as we make our way onto lap number 15, you can see that the gap to Martins is 2.3 seconds. So now we are leading quite comfortably. As long as we can, just keep doing good, consistent laps, we should be absolutely fine. And that's what the team want me to do as well, is to reach a minimum lap time. And I based on the laps that I've been doing recently, I've been in the 120s. I'd say that this should be fairly achievable, but we will see what kind of lap time we can do as we make our way onto the start-finish straight. And as we cross the line for lap 16, it is 1:20.2, over a second ahead of the target. Absolutely smashed it, and that will be a nice rating bonus for us, along with the fuel-saving objective as well. So as we make our way onto the final lap of the race, this has been a very, very straightforward Monaco feature race. Couldn't be happier with the outcome, quite frankly, because this is going to cause us to extend our championship lead by a country mile, and we're starting to look a bit like a Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, George Russell type character right now, where we are just absolutely dominant. And as we come on the run to the line, we're going to cross it to win in Monaco. Monaco, baby. That's it's basically a rite of passage when you cross the line here, especially for me as a Brit. And now maybe I'll start dreaming of a victory in Formula 1 at this amazing circuit as well. We get driver of the day for good measure as well.
Well, what a drive it was to take the win for PHM by Charouz today.
We've heard stories of drivers watching the race on the big screens while they're going around leading with that kind of advantage. I reckon that's what they were doing, AJ.
Here come our winning drivers then, out onto the podium at the end of a thrilling race. The drama and excitement are over, and it's time to let it all sink in. Congratulations to our top three today.
Well, very, very happy with this outcome. I couldn't be more pleased. It's another victory this season. I don't know how many that is now. I think that's my 5th victory in 12 races, which is pretty good. We had the 2 in Imola, and then we had 1 in Australia and 1 in I can't remember where else, Saudi Arabia. So 5 victories so far this season.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, it was no fastest lap for us today, but I think we can still take comfort from the fact that we had a very, very strong race here. Brad Benavides not scoring any points this weekend, unfortunately for him, but neither did Ayumu Iwasa, and there we go, 51 points in the lead of the championship. We could fail to score points next weekend. Ayumu Iwasa could win both races, get fastest lap in both, pole position, everything, and he still would not catch us. He would only be 12 points behind us, but he would not catch us. With 48 points in the lead of the Constructors' Championship as well, and I am really starting to walk away with this season. 8 races left to go, or 8 weekends left to go, 16 races left to go. So, we are looking fairly hot around here, and I just wanted to share with you a thought that I had during that final cutscene as I was, collecting my trophy and celebrating with the team and all that. There is somebody in my pit crew whose player model looks a lot more like Arthur Leclerc than Arthur Leclerc's player model looks like him. I was actually baffled when I saw the Arthur Leclerc player model. I was like, you've modeled these off of the real drivers, supposedly. The only thing I can assume is that maybe drivers who aren't on the Formula 2 grid anymore, they couldn't do that with, for whatever reason. That is like the only thing I can think of as to why Arthur Leclerc looks that way, because there is absolutely no way they've used the same system. I can't remember what it's called now, but the system where basically they analyze the facial structure of the drivers, because that driver that is supposedly Arthur Leclerc looks literally nothing like him. It's worse than some of the most egregious ones that we've seen over the years. So absolutely no way that is Arthur Leclerc. Maybe just swap the models around, because the guy in the team for us looked a lot like Arthur Leclerc, to be perfectly honest. I would be more convinced that was Arthur Leclerc than the player model that actually is Arthur Leclerc. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, enough talk about that. Very good win for us. A great extension in the championship, and things are looking brighter and brighter for us, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe that in the Formula 1 race this weekend, it was Kevin Magnussen suffering a DNF for Haas, which you know, he's been not great so far this season. He's been comprehensively outperformed by his teammate as well. You know, I'm a big fan of the driver, but you know, when you're not getting the results, you're not getting the results. And maybe after a few years back with the team, maybe Haas are going to start looking at Kevin Magnussen and saying, okay, maybe it's time to say goodbye. You know, he had a great season in 2022, but 2023 is not getting off to the best of starts for him so far. And well, I mean, you know, you're only as good as your last 5 races, or whatever they say, right? So you know, our rating is just climbing and climbing right now, and I'm starting to think maybe if we can keep hold of this championship lead, Haas will be very keen to take on a new driver and try out somebody new in their car for 2024. But that is going to be it for this video. So if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.